My mom thought she could replace my dad with her creepy new fiancé and make me call him dad, but she didn't know I still had contact with my real dad, and that I'd soon find the journal that would blow their whole story apart. My name is Mason. I'm 13 years old, and I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. Before everything fell apart, I thought my life was normal, or close enough to it. That changed the night they arrested my dad. It happened so fast I still don't understand it. One minute I was sitting in the kitchen at Engine 12, where Dad worked as a paramedic, eating leftover chili from a fireman's potluck. The next, the police were swarming in like something out of a movie. Earlier that night, Dad had gotten a call on the station radio. Some kind of emergency near the railroad underpass. He jumped up like he always did, eyes sharp, focus locked in. "Stay here," he told me, grabbing his kit. I waited, like I always did. About 20 minutes later, he came back pale and shaking. I'd never seen him like that before. He went straight to the landline and called dispatch. "There's a man down. I found him behind the shed near the tracks. Head trauma. He's not breathing. Send someone now." His voice cracked halfway through. Then he looked at me, really looked, and I could see the fear in his eyes. I thought he was scared for the man. I thought that's what good paramedics did, they cared. But before the next hour was over, they were slapping handcuffs on his wrist right in front of me. I was screaming, begging them to listen. He called it in. He found the guy, he tried to help. But none of them would look at me. Later that night, I sat on my mom's couch, wrapped in a blanket that still smelled like Dad's flannel. Valerie, my mom, just kept rubbing my shoulder and whispering that everything would be okay. But it wasn't. It only got worse. Within 3 months, Dad had been indicted. The trial was fast. No one wanted to hear about what I'd seen or what I knew. It didn't help that the guy who died, Tommy Reyes, had history with Dad. A fight years ago. Something about a stolen wallet. It was enough for a jury. Guilty. That's what they called him. And just like that, he was gone. But what came next? That's what really broke me. Valerie got real distant after the trial. Cold. I figured maybe she was grieving too in her own way. I tried to be patient. Then came Clay. She introduced him one night over takeout. "This is Clay," she said like it was the most normal thing in the world. "He and I have been seeing each other." I didn't say anything. I just picked up my fries and stared at the floor. The next week, he moved in. He was nice at first. Real nice. Bought me pizza, asked me about school, tried to make jokes about my room being messy. But it felt forced. Like he was playing a role. The day Mom told me to start calling him Dad, something snapped in me. "He's not my dad," I told her. "I already have a dad." She just sighed and walked away. Like it didn't even matter. That was when I started noticing things. Clay going through my drawers. Asking weird questions. Always wanting to know where I was, who I talked to. The easy smile started to look like a mask. And behind it, something darker. I didn't have the words for it then. But I knew something was off. Something big. Something dangerous. And deep down, I started to wonder if my real dad might be telling the truth after all. It started small. Clay would make these comments when Mom wasn't around. Stuff I didn't understand at first. About my shoulders getting broad, or how I was growing into a man. I'd be sitting at the kitchen table doing math homework, and he'd walk by and squeeze my neck. "Look at you, getting strong. Your mom better keep the girls locked up." I'd just shrug it off. Laugh nervously. What else was I supposed to do? But he never said that stuff when Valerie was in the room. I told her once, tried. Anyway, he says weird things sometimes, I muttered while we were folding laundry. She didn't even look up. "You're 13. Everything feels weird when you're 13. "No, Mom, like." "He's trying," she cut me off. "Give him a break. You're not the easiest kid right now." That shut me up. I hated how quick she was to defend him. But Clay didn't stop. The compliments turned into questions. About my body, the girls at school. Then one night while Mom was out at her book club, he walked past me in the hallway and whispered, "Bet you're hiding all kinds of things under that hoodie." I froze. I didn't know what that meant exactly, but the way he said it made my stomach turn. When I didn't answer, he leaned in close, way too close, and said, "We're guys. You can talk to me about anything. Don't make things weird." I started sleeping with my bedroom door locked. Not that it made a difference, he had keys. I heard him trying one night. Just once. The click of the knob turning while I pretended to be asleep. Then footsteps retreating when it wouldn't budge. The next morning, he acted like nothing happened. Cheerful. Making eggs. Telling me I had to be tougher. That a boy my age shouldn't be acting so sensitive. "You're not a baby anymore," he said. "Act like it." I didn't talk much after that. Not to him. Not to Mom. Not to anybody. Except Dad. I created a fake email account on an old Chromebook my friend Eli let me borrow. I'd go to his house after school and use it while we played video games. I didn't tell him what it was for. Just said I was writing a story. But I was writing my dad. I told him everything. Or at least what I could say in words without crying. I didn't know if he'd even get the messages. I didn't know if he was allowed email in there. But I wrote anyway. Dear Dad, I don't feel safe anymore. Something's wrong with Clay. I can't prove it yet, but I swear he's hiding something. And Mom, she doesn't see it. Or maybe she doesn't want to. I miss you. I wish you were here. I wish someone believed me. Love. Mason. Clay got bolder after that. Started accidentally walking in on me in the bathroom, asking if I needed help with my laundry. Sitting way too close on the couch while Mom cooked dinner. And every time I tried to bring it up, Valerie just waved it off. Clay's just trying to connect. You should be grateful someone wants to be in your life. I stared at her, stunned. He threatened me, I said one night. She frowned. He said not to cause problems. She didn't even blink. You probably misunderstood. He's under a lot of pressure. That's when I knew. I couldn't trust her. I was alone. And Clay knew it. I came home from school one afternoon to find Valerie sitting on the couch, holding a stack of papers with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. You're officially a Whitaker now, she said, like she was handing me a birthday present. I blinked. What? Your name, she said, standing up and smoothing her dress. It's legal. Mason Whitaker. Just like Clay. My chest tightened. You changed my name? I thought it was time, she said. Clay's been stepping up. He deserves the respect. I looked down at the papers in her hand, court documents, already signed and stamped. I didn't even know they'd filed anything. I didn't even get a say. I didn't say a word. I just turned and walked to my room. That night, everything came to a head. I was already in bed, wrapped in my blanket, pretending to sleep. I heard Valerie's voice downstairs, saying goodnight. The front door clicked shut as she left for her overnight shift. Then silence. Until I heard Clay's footsteps on the stairs. Slow. Measured. I froze, heart hammering, as they stopped right outside my door. Then the doorknob turned. I hadn't locked it. I didn't think I needed to that night. He came in like he owned the place. I stayed still, trying to control my breathing. Still awake? He asked softly. I didn't answer. He sat on the edge of the bed. I know this has been hard, he said. But you're mine now. Officially. You understand what that means, don't you? I felt his hand brush my blanket-covered knee. Clay, don't, I said. My voice came out small, shaky. He didn't move his hand. You don't have to be scared. This is how a man teaches a boy how to grow up. I snapped. I jerked away from him so fast I nearly fell out of bed. Get out. I yelled. Get the hell away from me. His face changed. Like a switch flipped. The warmth drained from it, replaced with something mean and dangerous. You watch your mouth, he said through clenched teeth. You want your mom to think you're crazy? You want her to think you're acting out again? I'll tell her what you did. He laughed. And she'll believe you? After everything you've said already? She's the one who changed your name, Mason. Not me. She's already made her choice. He stood, leaned over me. You breathe a word of this, and I swear, things will get a lot worse for you. When he finally left the room, I sat there, shaking. My chest heaved as I stared at the wall, waiting for the adrenaline to wear off. But it didn't. Instead, I got up, pulled my backpack from under the bed, and dumped it onto the floor. I pulled out my hidden stash, crumpled letters I'd printed at Eli's house, some from Dad, some unfinished ones I never sent. I grabbed them all, stuffed them in a folder, and zipped it up. In the hallway, Clay's shadow moved across the crack under my door. 10 minutes later, I heard the sound of him opening and closing cabinets downstairs, the fridge door slamming. I waited, then slowly crept into the hallway. I needed to hide the letters. Somewhere he wouldn't find them. I thought of the crawlspace in the laundry room, but it was too obvious. Then I remembered the back of the bathroom toilet tank. I tiptoed in, lifted the lid, and carefully slipped the folder inside, wrapping it in a plastic grocery bag. Then I closed the lid and flushed the toilet once, just to make it sound normal. The next morning, Clay acted like nothing had happened. Made pancakes. Called me buddy. But I didn't eat. I just sat there, staring at him. And I knew I couldn't stay here much longer. That day at school, I skipped lunch and went straight to the library. I logged into the fake email and wrote my dad. Subject: urgent. Something happened. Last night. Please help me. I don't know who else to trust. He's getting worse. And Mom won't believe me. Please, Dad. I need you. Now. Love. Mason. It took 3 days, but I finally got a response. It wasn't a full message. Just a single line from my dad. Check the radiator in the attic. Behind the old pink insulation. Dad. That was it. I stared at the screen for a long time. I hadn't even told him where I lived now. But of course he knew. They moved us right after the trial, back to Mom's old house, the one her parents had left her. The attic had always been a creepy, musty place I avoided. Until now. That Saturday afternoon, Valerie and Clay were out shopping for patio furniture or some other crap they thought mattered. As soon as the garage door rumbled shut, I grabbed a flashlight, slipped on a hoodie, and climbed the narrow stairs into the attic. It was boiling hot and smelled like fiberglass and mildew. The single bulb up there hadn't worked in years, so I used my phone light. I had to crawl over boxes and under sagging beams until I reached the back wall, where the old radiator pipe ran through the floorboards. Behind it, just like Dad said, was a chunk of pink insulation. I peeled it back carefully, heart pounding. There, wedged between the pipe and the wall, wrapped in a Ziploc bag, was a small leather-bound journal. My hands were sweating so bad I almost dropped it. I sat cross-legged on a dusty wood plank and started flipping through. It wasn't a diary. Not really. It was more like a logbook. Dad's handwriting filled every page. Notes, dates, times. Some of it was old, stuff about Valerie acting distant, weird calls she got late at night, receipts she tried to hide. Then I saw Clay's name. March 12th, Valerie lied about where she was. I followed her. She met Clay at the diner on Jefferson. 2 hours. Kissed before leaving. I took pictures but haven't confronted her yet. April 2nd, Clay stopped by the station. Said he was just in the area. Asked questions about our shifts. Gave me a weird vibe. May 5th, Valerie left her phone unlocked. Found messages between her and Clay going back months. Way before she claimed they met. My stomach turned. They were together before Dad was arrested. Before the night Tommy Reyes died. Before everything. I flipped faster now, searching for more. On one page, Dad had written out a timeline of the night of the murder. His version didn't match the prosecution's at all. And the more I read, the more it seemed like he was set up. Like someone had wanted him out of the picture. That someone looked more and more like Clay. I didn't even hear the attic door open. Mason, Clay's voice snapped from the shadows, low and sharp. What the hell are you doing up here? My whole body jolted. I slammed the journal shut and spun around. He was halfway up the stairs, holding a beer. I squinting. I was just looking for my old Transformers, I said quickly. For a school project? About childhood stuff. Clay narrowed his eyes. Since when do you care about school projects? He stepped in closer. I could smell the beer on his breath now. I shrugged. I don't know. They said bring something from when you were little. I remembered the box up here. He studied me. His gaze drifted down to the bulge in my hoodie pocket where the journal sat. I shifted slightly. You can check. I didn't find anything. After a long pause, he grunted and stepped back. Whatever. Clean up when you're done. And don't track dust through the house. He disappeared down the stairs. I didn't breathe until I heard the door click shut. Then I ran. Not to my room, but straight to the bathroom. I lifted the toilet lid, carefully unwrapped the grocery bag from before, and slid the journal in with it. It barely fit. I pressed the lid back down, flushed once for cover, then walked out like nothing had happened. But inside, I was shaking. Not from fear this time. From certainty. I knew now that Clay and my mom had been lying. And I wasn't just going to survive this. I was going to prove it. The next morning, I grabbed the journal from the toilet tank, stuffed it into my backpack, and walked to school like it was any other Monday. But I wasn't going to first period. Instead, I ducked into the library and found the farthest computer from the desk, the one tucked behind a tall bookshelf. I waited until the bell rang and the halls were empty. Then I pulled the journal out, page by page, and started taking photos with my phone. It took nearly 30 minutes to get it all. I had to keep checking over my shoulder, paranoid someone would walk in. When I finished, I uploaded the photos to a hidden Google Drive folder I created under a fake name, History Project Knox. No one would question a middle school kid doing a history project. That was the idea. Once everything was saved, I deleted the photos from my phone, cleared my browser history, and slipped the journal back into my bag. I'd move it later. Somewhere safer. Then I remembered someone I hadn't thought of since the trial. Uncle Dave. He wasn't really my uncle. He was my dad's best friend from high school. Big guy, motorcycle mechanic, always smelled like oil and peppermint. He used to bring me candy bars when he came to visit us on Sundays. After Dad was arrested, he stopped coming around. I figured Mom had pushed him out. I found his number the same way I'd found everything else, through that fake email account. Luckily, Eli's mom still had a landline, and she didn't ask questions when I said I needed to call my uncle real quick for a school project. I stood in their kitchen and dialed. Hello, Uncle Dave. My voice cracked. Yeah, who's this? It's Mason. There was a pause. Mason? Holy hell, kid, you okay? No, I whispered. I need help. He didn't hesitate. Where are you? We met that evening at the diner on Magnolia Avenue. I told Valerie I had to stay after school for detention. She didn't even ask why. Uncle Dave looked older than I remembered. More gray in his beard. He slid into the booth, eyes scanning me carefully. Tell me everything. So I did. I told him about the journal, about Clay, about what I'd found in the attic. I even showed him some of the pages on my phone. He didn't say a word until I finished. Then he leaned back and muttered, "That sneaky son of a bitch. Do you believe me?" I asked. I believed your dad from the start, he said. But this changes everything. We started digging that night. Uncle Dave had a few favors he could call in old contacts, people who still owed him. We made a list of places to check. The bar where Clay claimed to be the night Tommy Reyes died. The gas station near the underpass. Even a few pawn shops in the area where we thought Clay might have dumped something. The breakthrough came 3 days later. Dave walked into the diner grinning like he'd won the lottery. The bar manager found the footage. What footage? He pulled out a flash drive. Clay came into the bathroom 2 minutes before Tommy did. Then left 4 minutes before your dad arrived. Security footage confirms it. Timestamps and all. My heart skipped. That means your dad couldn't have done it, Dave said. Clay was there first. Alone with Tommy. I stared at the flash drive, my hands trembling. This was it. We were getting closer. Clay had lied. My mom had covered it up. And now, for the first time, we had proof. It didn't take long for Clay to figure something was going on. He started watching me more closely, asking where I went after school, checking my backpack when I walked in. I kept my head down, gave him nothing. But that only made him more suspicious. One afternoon, I came home and found my door ripped off the hinges. Just gone. What the hell happened? I asked, trying to keep my voice from shaking. Clay stood in the hallway with a screwdriver in one hand and my doorknob in the other. You lost your privacy when you started sneaking around. Valerie peeked out from the kitchen like she wasn't sure whether she should be part of this conversation. I looked at her, silently begging her to say something. She didn't. Clay stepped into my room, yanked open my drawers, tossed my books onto the bed. I know you're hiding something, he muttered. So go ahead. Save us all the trouble. There's nothing, I said. He turned around and shoved a handful of my letters, ones I hadn't even remembered hiding, into my chest. Then explained these. They were crumpled and torn, some smeared with ink. I had forgotten about the ones I kept in the back of my closet. The ones I didn't get to email. He must have searched my room while I was at school. Valerie stepped in then, arms folded, voice cold. Mason, how many times have we told you to stop writing to your father? They're just letters, I said. I needed someone to talk to. You don't need to be digging up the past, she said flatly. You're confused. You've been through trauma. We all have. Clay stepped in again, all mock sympathy. You've been acting unstable. Paranoid. You're lucky we haven't taken you to a doctor already. That's when Valerie said it. We've decided to send you to Holbrook. I blinked. What's Holbrook? It's a behavioral school, she said. 6-month residential. No phones, no distractions. You'll have time to reset. My heart dropped. You're sending me away? Clay stepped beside her. It's for your own good. I looked between them, her distant stare, his smirk barely hidden behind fake concern. They weren't just trying to control me. They were trying to erase me. I didn't sleep that night. I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, going over every escape plan I could think of. Holbrook was remote, up in the hills outside Knoxville. No way to sneak out, no way to reach anyone. If they got me there, it was over. So I ran. At sunrise, I grabbed my backpack. The journal was still hidden in the bathroom tank. I retrieved it, wrapped in plastic, shoved it into the bottom of my bag under a few clothes and old textbooks. I slipped out the back door, cutting across the neighbor's lawn, through the alley behind the drugstore, until I reached the gas station by the highway. I had exactly $3 in my pocket. Not enough for a bus ticket. But they still had a payphone outside. I dug out the crumpled paper where I'd written Uncle Dave's number and dropped in 2 quarters. He answered on the second ring. Mason. They're sending me away, I said, panting. Someplace called Holbrook. I don't have time. Where are you? Shell station off Pinehurst. Stay put. I'm coming. 20 minutes later, his pickup screeched into the lot. I jumped in, heart pounding, backpack clutched to my chest like it was the last piece of me I had left. Let's go, he said, already gunning the engine. We sped off as the first rays of sun hit the street. I didn't know where we were going. I just knew I wasn't going down without a fight. We laid low for a few days. Uncle Dave took me to a buddy's cabin about 30 miles outside the city. No Wi-Fi, no neighbors, no Clay. I kept the journal with me at all times. Slept with it under my pillow. I couldn't shake the feeling that if I let it out of my sight, this whole thing would vanish, and I'd wake up back in that house with Clay standing over me. Uncle Dave was quiet most of the time, but I could tell he was boiling underneath. He was doing everything he could, reaching out to people, getting copies of the bar footage, talking to a defense attorney he trusted. We weren't just hoping anymore. We were building a case. Then Clay found us. It happened on a Tuesday. Dave had gone into town to get food and call the attorney. I stayed behind, reading through Dad's journal again, trying to memorize every line. The knock on the door didn't sound like Dave's. I froze. Then Clay's voice came through. Mason, open up. I backed away slowly, heart racing. I know you're in there, he said, softer now. I just want to talk. I didn't answer. The door creaked open anyway. I must have forgotten to lock it. Clay stepped inside, hair messy, eyes wild. He looked worse than I'd ever seen him, sweaty, jittery, like he hadn't slept in days. You think you're smart? He said, stepping closer. You think you can just disappear, run off with your little notebook? I gripped the edge of the table behind me. You're a kid, Mason. A confused, angry kid. No one's gonna believe you. Not over me. Not over your mother. Then he paused and smirked. You know what's funny, he said. Your dad didn't even see it coming. All the time he was working late, running into fires, saving people, and she was already mine. I stayed quiet. He stepped closer. Tommy? That guy was a mess. Always mouthing off. He wasn't supposed to be there that night. I just wanted to scare him, but things got messy. My breath caught. He kept going, like he didn't care. Your dad showing up when he did? Bad luck for him. Perfect luck for me. My hand was already in my pocket, gripping the phone. I had hit record the second I heard his voice outside. And then the door swung open again. Valerie. She stood in the doorway, bags under her eyes, her mouth hanging open. She looked between us. Between me and him. What did you just say? She asked, her voice brittle. Clay turned, too late. She had heard it. All of it. No, baby, he started. He's twisting this. The kid's unstable. You know how he... But she backed away. You lied to me, she whispered. All this time. Then her eyes met mine. For once, they were clear. Focused. Mason, she said, her voice shaking. Give me your phone. I handed it to her without a word. That's when Uncle Dave came back, taking in the scene like he'd walked into a war zone. Valerie didn't hesitate. Call the police. Now. We handed them everything, the recording, the footage from the bar, the journal pages. The detective didn't say much, but I saw it in his face as he listened to the audio. They finally believed me. Clay didn't say another word as the cops led him out of the cabin. He didn't need to. We had all we needed. Clay didn't go quietly. 2 nights after the police took him in for questioning, he posted bail and disappeared. Just like that. No note, no warning. Valerie didn't say much, but I knew she was scared. The way she jumped every time the phone rang or flinched when headlights passed the window, it told me everything. The police issued a warrant. They said he'd eventually surface. And they were right. They found him 3 days later, holed up in a cheap motel off I-40, just west of Memphis. He'd shaved his beard and dyed his hair, but it didn't matter. He was sitting in the corner of the room when they kicked in the door, surrounded by empty takeout boxes and old beer cans. But the real bombshell? They found the murder weapon. Still in his duffel bag. A bloody tire iron, wrapped in the same towel that had gone missing from our old laundry room. DNA confirmed the blood matched Tommy Reyes. The cops said it was like Clay wanted to be caught. Like he couldn't stand the pressure anymore. That night, Valerie stood at the kitchen sink, crying quietly while I sat at the table. I didn't know, she said. I didn't say anything. I wasn't sure if I believed her. He told me your father had a temper. That Tommy attacked him, and your dad stepped in. I didn't want to think he could lie like that. I looked at her, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel rage. Just emptiness. You changed my name without asking me, I said softly. You let him take my door off. You told me I was imagining things. Her shoulders shook. I know, she whispered. I failed you. I didn't nod. Didn't comfort her. Because I still wasn't sure if it mattered. The trial came fast after that. The evidence was overwhelming. My recording, the journal, the bar footage, the recovered weapon. Everything lined up. His DNA, his timeline, his motive. Clay was charged with murder, obstruction, and multiple counts of child endangerment. They added abuse charges too once they dug into his past. He didn't fight the charges. He pled guilty to avoid a full trial. But it didn't save him. He was sentenced to life without parole. Dad was released the day after Clay's plea hearing. I stood outside the gates of the correctional facility, heart thudding, palms sweaty. When he walked out, he looked thinner, older, but his eyes, those were the same. Sharp, kind, tired. I ran to him and hugged him so hard I thought I'd crush him. I knew you didn't do it, I said into his chest. I know, kiddo, he whispered. I'm so sorry you had to go through this. We moved into his small apartment a few towns over. It wasn't much, just 2 bedrooms and a creaky floor, but it was ours. We ate microwave dinners and built cheap furniture together and talked late into the night like we were catching up on years we'd lost. Valerie didn't come with us. She packed a suitcase, left a note, and moved out quietly one morning. I haven't seen her since. She still sends apology texts sometimes. I don't respond. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Dad got a settlement from the state. Not enough to fix everything, but enough to start over. He started talking about going back to school, maybe teaching EMT courses. I liked that idea. We were rebuilding. Day by day. It wasn't perfect. But after everything we'd been through, I didn't need perfect. I just needed peace. The courtroom was silent when I took the stand. I could feel Clay's eyes on me from the defense table, but I didn't look at him. Not once. My palms were sweaty, and my voice shook at first, but I told them everything. About the night he came into my room. The threats. The control. The way he manipulated my mom and made me feel like I was losing my mind. I read from Dad's journal too, just a few lines, so the jury could hear his words, not just mine. Clay didn't even flinch. But when the judge announced the sentence, life in prison, plus an additional 20 years for the abuse, he finally looked up. His face was blank. Empty. Like all the power he used to have was gone. After court, reporters tried to talk to me. I didn't say much. Just enough. He took everything from my dad, I said. From me. But we're still here. We're still standing. I meant it. In the weeks that followed, Valerie sent letters. 3 of them. I didn't open the first 2. I kept them in a drawer under my socks like I was waiting for the day I'd be ready. The 3rd one, I burned. Maybe one day I'll forgive her. But not today. Instead, I focused on the future. Dad used part of his settlement to buy a small house near Oak Ridge, nothing fancy, but with a garage big enough for him to tinker with old engines again. I helped him paint the walls, put up curtains, fix the mailbox that leaned to one side. We laughed more now. Ate dinner at the table. Left the doors unlocked because, for the first time, we didn't feel like prisoners in our own home. That's when Caroline came into the picture. She was one of the waitresses from the bar where Clay had been caught on camera. She testified during the trial, nothing dramatic, just that she saw Clay and Tommy arguing near the restroom that night. But she smiled at me after, said she was proud of me for speaking up. Weeks later, Dad ran into her again. They got coffee, then dinner. Then she started coming around more. She brought banana bread and board games, and this weird, contagious laugh that filled the whole kitchen. I liked her, not because she was trying to be anything, but because she wasn't. She was just kind. Dad smiled more with her around. So did I. I also started therapy. It wasn't easy at first. Talking about what happened made my throat go dry. But Dr. Fields, this old guy with a tie that never matched his shirt, didn't push. He let me talk when I was ready. And one day, I was. That was the day I told him I wanted to study law. Criminal defense? He asked. I nodded. So nobody's dad has to go through what mine did. He smiled. That's a good reason. I still have the journal. I keep it in a locked box in my room, along with the USB drive and a printout of that blurry bar footage. Not because I need the proof anymore, but because I'll never forget how far someone will go to bury the truth, and how far I had to go to dig it back up. We made it out. We survived. And now, we're finally free.